Well, we made it through 2016, and despite a lot of stuff that happened, there were quite a few good movies, and now it's time to do the top 10 movies of 2016. Now, before we break down this list, I gotta talk about something here, and that is I've seen a lot of good movies this year. In fact, I saw more good movies than bad movies this year, but I saw enough bad movies to make a top 10 worst list, which you'll also see very soon. But I will say this, I saw so many good films this year. This was actually a pretty good year for film in some ways. Summer 2016 was slightly disappointing, however, but I will talk about the fact that there are a few movies that I really wanted to put in this top 10, but unfortunately, they didn't make the cut. So before I go into the top 10, I have a couple of honorable mentions to make. First of all, Star Trek Beyond, a movie that I really enjoyed, and I feel like it's underrated, and I feel like more people should watch it. It was a really fun movie to watch. And The Jungle Book, another great film, and I felt like it was, well, just missed the list. Just missed the list. Now, everything on this top 10 list I've reviewed except for one movie. And if you've been following my channel, you'll know the one movie that I've not reviewed. I'm gonna even mention it when I talk about it. And now that I've told you all this stuff, let's just get on with it. So here, without any further ado, are the top 10 movies for me of 2016. At number 10, we have Hell or High Water. This movie is, well, a movie that I unfortunately did not review, but then I got a chance to see it later, in fact, much later this year, and in the midst of other movies, I couldn't review this one, and I loved this movie. Hell or High Water had a great cinematography, had brilliant performances, had a very good story to it. It was a heist film, but it wasn't done in a very conventional way. It was done with some different perspectives. It made use of its environment, it made use of its script. This was a brilliantly done film, and I really enjoyed it for what it was. At number 9, we have Moonlight, a masterpiece of a film that absolutely blew me away. It was a brilliantly done film with fantastic performances. And something that's just so amazing about Moonlight is that despite the fact that it takes place during the war on drugs period, it has so many socially relevant themes to today, and it makes it so important considering the way things are right now in some societies, and it connects those beautifully, and it has a very good commentary to offer, and it has brilliant characters to back that up with that. Mahershala Ali, get your Oscar nomination, man. Best Supporting Actor should be yours. It was a brilliant, brilliant character piece of a film. The character Chiron was brilliant. I can't wait to see this movie again and get it on Blu-ray if I can. At number 8, we have Zootopia, a movie that dealt with racism and sexism. And it's a Disney movie. A movie that dealt with some very important themes, and a film that was just so much fun. It was beautifully animated, brilliantly directed. This film was a perfect Disney movie. Not the best Disney movie I saw this year, but it was a fantastic movie, and I love it for what it was. And I have seen this movie about 50 times already. I love this movie. At number 7 is the King of Sass himself, Deadpool. I honestly had no idea how Deadpool was gonna turn out. I thought it was gonna be a gigantic mess of a film, but then as the campaign went on and as the advertisements came in, it just looked more and more interesting, and you were thinking, maybe they can pull off an R-rated movie. And they did. Deadpool was such a good film. It had great characters, it had great comedy, it knew when it had to be dark, and it knew when it had to be really funny, and it had the nice fourth wall breaking element to it that was done in a very interesting manner, and I really enjoyed this movie. I even bought the movie on Blu-ray. This movie was a really good film, and it definitely deserves to be on this list. At number 6, we have another superhero film that is actually really, really good, and that is Captain America Civil War. Civil War is honestly the best Marvel movie I've seen so far. It had a great showdown between the heroes, but it also had a very emotional, dramatic story to it. There are moments in this film that were so connect-worthy. The characters, some of the character pieces, especially with Tony Stark at one point in time, they are so well realized, and the script is so intelligent and so tensely written. It has so many great things to show and to explain about its characters. The movie really did a very good job of bringing the hero versus hero thing together, and it was a fantastic movie, and I really liked it. A lot of people consider it overrated. Personally, I don't think so. I really enjoyed it, and it really deserves to be on this list. At number 5, the other Disney movie that I liked a little more than Zootopia, and that is Moana, a movie that this movie was just magical. Funny story about this movie, I actually thought this was not gonna work. I felt like this was a film which was just gonna crash and burn. I was like, okay, Disney had Zootopia. Yeah, this movie's not gonna be as good as Zootopia, right? Wrong! It actually turned out to be way better than Zootopia. It's a film that had a very simple story to it, but it had done so much with that premise. The songs are brilliant. Lin-Manuel Miranda's music is just Oscar-worthy in this movie, and this animation is stellar. It is a beautiful film. The actress Ollie Carvalho, if that is how I'm pronouncing your name, if that's right, thank you. If not, I'm so sorry. She's brilliant in this movie. She's 16 years old. She's carrying this movie together. Dwayne Johnson was brilliant as Maui. Hey Hey, the chicken, who was voiced, I think, by Alan Tudyk, was also really, really good. It had a very good message about certain things. It broke some stereotypes. This movie really was amazing. It floored me for a lot of it. At number 4, we have a movie that honestly I thought would be on the bottom of the top 10, but as I've thought about it more and more, it's gone up and up and up, and that is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Despite the fact that the first opening 25-30 minutes are a little iffy, this movie picks up so brilliantly. This has fantastic action sequences, terrific acting, the Darth Vader scenes are amazing, the visual effects are spectacular, the score by Michael Giacchino, despite the fact that it was done in 4 weeks, was great. The dialogue was also very good. The direction by Gareth Edwards is brilliant. This was a gorgeous movie. I really enjoyed every second of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and I've seen it multiple times in the theater already. In fact, I know I'm wearing the t-shirt for it, but there's no bias over here, and I really enjoyed Rogue One, and I can't wait to see it again as soon as I get a chance to do so. At number 3, we have the musical from the director of Whiplash, and that is La La Land. Another beautiful film with, again, great songs, great acting, great directing, great writing. This movie had so much going for it. A lot of people will say things about this movie, the way it's glorifying certain things, or the fact that there are some things with it which just don't work. Honestly, it's a film that tells you to follow your dreams, and it conveys that message beautifully, and I really like the way the certain characters in this film, like Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, the journeys they're taken through in order to accomplish what they want to accomplish in life. I really like this movie. I loved this movie. This movie floored me in so many scenes, and I can't wait to see this movie again. I really, really loved this one, and it deserves to be on this list. Now, before we get into the top 2 movies, this one was a coin toss. I love both these movies equally, and I wanted to put one of these. It was really hard to choose between these 2 films because these movies I loved, really, really loved. But I had to make a decision, so let's see where we end up here. Number 2, we have Arrival, directed by Denis Villeneuve, a movie that I really was surprised by. The trailers for this film were suggesting it's an alien invasion movie, but my god, it turns out to be something so much more. It's a very thought-provoking film. The performances, especially by Amy Adams, are brilliant. Amy Adams going for an Oscar here in this movie. She's fantastic. Even the visual effects, while minimalistic, were used perfectly. The score by Johan Johansson is the best score I've heard all year, and it's a shame it's not going to be considered for Oscars because it has a piece in it which is not his original piece, and that's very upsetting. It has masterful cinematography, beautiful direction, excellent writing, and it's an all-round A-plus material film. If you have not seen Arrival yet, please do see Arrival. I'm not going to tell you about the film itself. It's just such a brilliant film with so many thought-provoking themes in it, and it does it in a sensational manner, and I can't wait to see it again. And now here we are, number 1. The big one, the one that we've all been building towards, and the one I had to decide over maybe a bit of a coin toss. And it's a film that a lot of people loved, and I really like this movie. And I'm going to explain why it's in my number 1, because it's just amazing. And that movie is Hacksaw Ridge. Now, I've seen a lot of movies this year that were brilliant, movies that absolutely got me. They had the feels, they had the action, they were movies that were tense, they were movies that were funny, movies that were exciting, but no movie floored me as much as Hacksaw Ridge did. This movie was amazing. It had so much in it which was just so affecting. It really blew me away what Mel Gibson did with this film. And say what you will about the man, but the man directed a staggering film over here. Andrew Garfield gives the best performance I've ever seen from him. I haven't seen Silence yet. I plan to see it as soon as I can, but for now I have to look at this performance and say, this right here, this is the crowning jewel of Andrew Garfield. His performance is so natural. It is so brilliant. The score is great. The action sequences when the warp war stuff happens, it happens. And his story, it's such an inspiring story. He doesn't want to lift a single weapon. He will not fire a shot. That is such an amazing story. It's such an inspiring story. I want to know more about Desmond Doss now. He was such a great man. I loved every single aspect of this movie. It was absolutely brilliant. This is a masterwork of a film, and I loved this movie, and it very rightfully deserves to be on the top of this list. So guys, what is your top 10 list? What did you think of my top 10 list? And what are you expecting from 2017 movies? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know. I'll have my worst movies of 2016 list out in a moment as well, or in a day, whatever. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always for watching. Thank you for watching everything throughout 2016. And as always, if you like this, you can please subscribe, and I will see you guys later.